Dear friends, today I want to share with you a truth I discovered not through books, not through advice, but through experience. There was a time I believed I was doing everything right, eating clean, following trends, listening to labels, but not everything that shines is gold. Not everything that says healthy brings you health. Let me walk you through 6 so-called healthy foods that silently, slowly, led me away from balance. In today's world, the word healthy has become a powerful symbol. It appears on labels, in advertisements, and across countless social media posts. It promises vitality, longevity, energy. It draws us in like a lantern in the dark. But when we step closer, we must ask, what does healthy truly mean? And more importantly, does it nourish us? Many products wear the mask of health. They boast phrases like low-fat, gluten-free, all-natural, or plant-based. These words are designed to comfort the mind, to lower our guard. We trust them, not because we know what they mean, but because we want to believe that health can be bought in a box, a bar, a bottle. But real nourishment does not come from labels. It comes from awareness. Let us look deeper. A snack bar may be labeled protein, packed, yet contain over 20 ingredients, many unrecognizable, some synthetic. A fruit juice may say 100% natural, but carry more sugar than a soft drink. A vegetable chip may appear colorful and pure, yet be deep, fried and salted beyond what any real vegetable ever experienced in nature. Here lies the paradox. We consume these things thinking they are helping us, but our bodies, wise and ancient, know otherwise. We feel tired, bloated, restless, and yet we wonder why. We blame stress, age, even fate. But rarely do we look at the silent invader, the food we thought was healing us. The lesson is not to become fearful nor judgmental, but to become attentive. Health is not in the label, it is in the effect. Ask yourself, after I eat this, do I feel clear or cloudy? Do I feel light or heavy, energized or inflamed? True nourishment leaves no confusion. It supports your breath. It sharpens your mind. It does not shout from a package. It speaks quietly through your well-being. Nature has no labels. An apple does not need a barcode. A handful of nuts does not come with a marketing campaign. Real food does not beg for attention. It simply is. And when we return to simplicity, we return to balance. This does not mean you must avoid every packaged food. Rather, it means you must stop being a passive consumer and become an active observer. Learn to read beyond the front of the box. Read the ingredients. Read your body. Trust your inner signals more than the outer slogans, because ultimately the goal is not to eat what is called healthy. It is to eat what makes you healthy. And only you, through stillness, attention, and experience, can discover what truly nourishes your body, your energy, and your spirit. There are foods that enter your life with a promise, a quiet whisper that says, I am good for you. Granola is one of them. It arrives dressed in brown paper bags, rustic fonts, and words like whole grain, organic, and natural. It gives the impression of a food born in the forest, made by hand, approved by nature itself. We place it in our bowls with confidence. We tell ourselves it is fuel, that it is energy, that it is health. But we rarely stop to ask what is truly inside. Granola, in its essence, begins with oats. On their own, oats are grounding. They are steady, slow, burning, rich in fiber. But the moment granola becomes a product, sold on shelves, sealed in plastic, made for mass consumption, it changes. Most commercial granolas are no longer just oats. They are oats coated in sugar, syrups, honey, molasses, dried fruits, chocolate chips, candied nuts, and often even vegetable oils that have been refined and processed. Some servings contain as much sugar as a dessert. And yet we eat them at the start of our day, believing we have made a wise choice. This is not an attack on granola. It is a call to awareness. because the problem is not the food itself, it is the illusion it creates. Granola gives us a quick burst of energy. For a short time, it feels uplifting, but the energy does not last. What follows is often a sudden dip, a crash. The body responds to the sugar spike with insulin, and energy turns into fatigue, focus into fog. We may find ourselves hungry again too soon, craving more sweetness, reaching for snacks before midday. This pattern becomes a cycle, and that cycle begins with what we believed was healthy. This is how health becomes performance. This is how nourishment becomes a costume. To return to truth, we must look without assumptions. We must begin to ask, what are the first 5 ingredients? How much added sugar is really there? Can I recognize the names on the label? Even better, we must ask how we feel after we eat it. Does it leave us calm, clear, sustained, or does it leave us wanting more? Real granola can exist, made slowly, with intention, using whole oats, natural fats, minimal sweetener. It can be baked in your own kitchen, where you know each ingredient, and your hands are part of the process. But mass-market granola, it often belongs to the world of processed indulgence, not mindful eating. The lesson is simple but powerful. Do not judge food by its image, judge it by its impact, because even something that seems pure, when altered, sweetened, and sold, can lose its essence, and our goal is not to eat what seems good. It is to eat what does good, for the body, for the mind, for the life we are trying to build. There is a quiet danger in the foods that appear harmless, a subtle deception in the things that wear the mask of purity. Flavored yogurt is one such example. It is often found in the cool, sterile shelves of supermarkets. Its packaging is soft, inviting, and clean. The colors suggest nature: berries, honey, peaches, vanilla. And the words speak gently to the health conscious mind: low fat, probiotic, good for your gut. We do not hesitate. We believe we are doing something good. But true understanding does not begin with a label. It begins with asking, what is inside this? What does it do once it enters the body? Yogurt, in its original form, is a living food. It is cultured, fermented, filled with beneficial bacteria that can support digestion and gut health. It is humble, simple, quiet, yet the moment it is flavored, colored, and sweetened, it becomes something else entirely. Many flavored yogurts contain more sugar per serving than a bowl of ice cream. This sugar may come in many names: cane sugar, fruit puree, corn syrup, even evaporated juice. But the effect is the same. At first, there is sweetness, a pleasant taste, a feeling of satisfaction, but beneath that taste, something deeper is awakened: craving. The sweetness does not nourish, it excites. It does not calm the body, it stirs it. The result is subtle but powerful. We find ourselves reaching for another cup tomorrow, and again the next day, not because we are hungry for nutrition, but because we are seeking that sugar-fueled pleasure again and again. This is how flavored yogurt moves from nourishment to habit, from health food to addiction in disguise, and the damage is not always loud. It is not immediate. It shows up in waves: a restless stomach, unstable energy, craving for more snacks after meals, a fog in the mind, a dependence on constant stimulation through taste. The body knows this pattern, even when the mind does not, but there is another way. When we return to plain, unsweetened yogurt, we return to something honest. Its taste is different, more sour, less seductive, but within that simplicity is real power. It does not shout with flavor, but it soothes. It calms, it supports the natural rhythm of digestion. If sweetness is needed, let it come from fresh fruit in moderation. Let it be an addition, not a foundation. The key is not to reject yogurt, but to recognize the truth. The benefit of yogurt lies in its purity. Not its flavor. We live in a world where food is engineered to pull us in, but we must be stronger than marketing. We must listen more to our bodies than to slogans. True nourishment brings clarity. It does not feed desire, it feeds life. So next time you reach for something labeled healthy, ask yourself not how it tastes, but how it serves you, because food should not only satisfy the tongue, it should support the path you walk every day. Fruit juice is often seen as the symbol of health. Bright in color, naturally sweet, and born from the fruits of nature, how could it not be good for us? We are told it is rich in vitamins, full of antioxidants, and refreshing for the body, and so we drink it without hesitation. Orange juice in the morning, apple juice in the afternoon, a detox juice after a workout, but there is something hidden beneath its sweetness. To understand the deception, we must first remember what fruit really is. Whole fruit is a gift of nature, balanced and complete. It carries sweetness, yes, but also fiber, which slows down the absorption of sugar. Fiber is what allows the body to process fruit gently, steadily. It gives time for digestion. It gives the liver a chance to respond. It protects us from the sudden rush. But fruit juice is not the same. When we extract the juice, we remove the fiber. We take the sugar and the water, and we discard the rest. What remains is no longer a complete food. It is a concentrated form of sugar, natural though it may be. The body does not know the difference between this sugar and that of a soft drink. The bloodstream does not see labels. It sees the impact. A glass of juice can contain the sugar of 4, 5, or even 6 fruits. Could you eat 5 oranges in one sitting? Probably not, but drink them easily, and therein lies the danger. The sugar from juice enters the body fast. It spikes blood sugar. It triggers insulin. It gives a burst of energy, followed by a crash, and over time, this pattern wears down the body. It tires the pancreas. It inflames the system. It feeds imbalance. Even juices labeled cold, pressed, or organic are not immune to this effect. The method may be cleaner, the source more honest, but without fiber, the body still receives a surge. Does this mean fruit juice must be avoided completely? Not necessarily, but it must be seen clearly. It must be treated not as a health drink, but as a treat. There is a place for juice in moderation, perhaps as part of a slow, balanced meal, perhaps diluted with water, or combined with fiber-rich ingredients. But when juice becomes a daily habit, a replacement for water, or a healthy snack, it misleads. It pretends to nourish, but instead overstimulates. To reclaim our health, we must return to the whole form of food. Eat the orange, chew the apple. Respect the design of nature. It provides what we need in the form we were meant to receive it. Because true nourishment is not just about what we put into our bodies. It's about how that food interacts with our rhythm, our system, our energy, and that rhythm is thrown off balance when sweetness comes without the structure that once held it. So remember, what is removed from food matters just as much as what is added. And health cannot be extracted from a fruit. It must be eaten whole. In the pursuit of health, we often reach for what sounds right, what looks modern, what promises better choices. Two of the most celebrated examples today are plant-based meats and energy bars. They claim to be solutions, answers to our questions, alternatives to the foods we've been told to avoid. Plant-based meats promise compassion, sustainability, and a healthier body. Energy bars offer fuel, protein, and convenience. They wear the armor of nutrition. They present themselves as clean, efficient, and progressive. But when you look more deeply, beyond the packaging, beyond the claims, you may find that these foods are not what they appear to be. Let us begin with plant-based meats. On the surface, they seem like an ideal replacement. No animal products, less saturated fat, and marketed as better for the planet. But when we examine the ingredients, we begin to see complexity, not clarity. They are made from isolated proteins, synthetic binders, artificial flavorings, refined oils, color additives, and stabilizers. They are constructed, not grown, engineered, not harvested, and while the source may be plants, the final product is far from nature. Your body recognizes whole foods. It understands a lentil, a chickpea, a mushroom, but it does not understand chemically altered soy protein or processed wheat gluten formed into the shape of meat. What you gain in convenience or comfort, you often lose in digestibility, purity, and energetic quality. Now consider the energy bar, a small, dense rectangle of promise. It tells you it is packed with protein, with fiber, with essential nutrients, but read the label. Many bars are filled with syrups, preservatives, low-quality oils, soy isolates, artificial sweeteners, and sugar disguised under many names. Though they are convenient, they are often more formula than food, a science project built for shelf life and flavor enhancement, not for deep nourishment. Yes, they may keep you from skipping a meal. Yes, they may give you a temporary lift, but do they truly feed your cells? Do they leave you grounded, clear, and whole? The answer often lies not in how full you feel, but in how long you feel well. The deeper truth is this: just because something is plant-based does not mean it is health-giving, and just because something contains protein does not mean it supports strength. Health is not about substitution, it is about connection. Connection to what you eat, where it came from, how it was made, how it makes you feel. So the invitation is simple: return to foods that your body recognizes. Choose meals that were made, not manufactured. Replace artificial convenience with intentional simplicity. You do not need to eat perfectly, but you must eat consciously, because the path to true strength is not lined with imitation. It is paved with authenticity. And real food, honest food, does not come from a lab. It comes from the earth, and it speaks to the body in a language it has understood for thousands of years. In a world filled with diets, trends, and endless advice, it is easy to forget one simple truth. Health does not begin in a book, a product, or a program. It begins with awareness. And nowhere is this more important than in the way we eat. Many people eat automatically, in front of screens, in the car, while walking, while distracted. The focus is not on the food itself, but on the next task, the next thought, the next obligation. But when we eat without attention, we do not truly eat. We consume, but we do not receive. Mindful, intentional eating is not about restriction. It is not about counting calories or following rules. It is about bringing your full presence to the table. It is about choosing food that aligns with your well-being, not just your appetite. When you eat with intention, you ask questions. Where did this food come from? How was it grown or prepared? What does it offer to my body, my energy, my mind? How do I feel after eating it? Light or heavy, clear or clouded? This kind of attention is powerful. It allows you to understand the difference between fullness and nourishment. You learn to recognize not just the taste of food, but its effect, its weight, its vibration, its residue. Intentional eating means slowing down. It means chewing fully, breathing between bites, pausing long enough to let your body speak, because the body is always speaking. We are just rarely quiet enough to listen. When you eat this way, something begins to change. You no longer chase food to fill a void. You no longer crave things that exhaust you. You begin to crave balance, simplicity, wholeness. You move from eating out of habit to eating out of harmony. You might find that your portion sizes decrease, not because you are trying to eat less, but because you are finally satisfied. True satisfaction does not come from eating more. It comes from eating well. Intentional eating also deepens your relationship with food. You begin to respect it, not just as fuel, but as a living gift. Every grain, every leaf, every piece of fruit carries the energy of the sun, the soil, the rain, the hand that picked it. When you eat with mindfulness, that energy enters you more completely. Health, then, is not the absence of disease. It is the presence of awareness in daily choices. It is built one bite at a time, one meal at a time, by choosing presence over impulse, simplicity over stimulation. You do not need the perfect diet. You need a deeper connection, because when you eat with care, you honor your body. And when you honor your body, it begins to support you in every other part of life, with clarity, with strength, and with peace. So, we return to a simple truth, one that cannot be found in packaging or promises. Health is not something we find in a product. It is something we build through awareness. It is not about what is trendy or what is marketed as good for you. It is about what brings you back to balance, physically, mentally, energetically. When we eat with intention, food stops being just fuel. It becomes a form of care, a way of respecting life, a daily ritual of presence. Let your meals be moments of stillness. Let your choices be guided not by habit, but by harmony. And let your body become not just a place where food is stored, but where life is fully lived. Because the path to true health does not begin in the kitchen. It begins in the mind with a question. Is what I'm eating serving my well-being, or just my desires? Ask this not once, but always, and in time your plate will reflect your purpose. Your body will reflect your balance, and your life will reflect your awareness. Thank you.